Hello guys, this is James from 10 Pulse, and today we are gonna talk about Da Vinci. If I were you, I wouldn't miss a thing. Get ready and stay pulse. We often think of Leonardo da Vinci as a genius who was simply born with brilliant ideas. But what if I told you that's not true? Leonardo didn't just have ideas, he built them, using a powerful thinking system hidden in plain sight, right inside his famous notebooks. And today, we're going to decode that system so you can apply it yourself. First, you need to understand what his notebooks really were. They weren't neat, organized diaries or journals. They were chaotic, beautiful messes. On a single page, you'd find a sketch of a flying machine next to a detailed anatomical drawing of a human heart, scribbled shopping lists, a few jokes, and paragraphs of his mysterious mirror writing. It looks random, but it was a deliberate strategy. Leonardo's notebooks weren't just for recording thoughts, they were thinking machines. He intuitively understood a principle that modern neuroscience would take centuries to prove. The true innovation doesn't come from orderly, linear thinking. It comes from the collision of unrelated concepts. By forcing drawings of human anatomy next to diagrams of mechanical gears, or sketches of bird wings next to architectural plans, he was creating a mental environment where his brain couldn't help but make new, unexpected connections. It was a forced cross-pollination of ideas. An anatomy sketch might spark a new gear design. A study of a bird's flight could inform the mechanics of a bridge. This deliberate chaos wasn't a sign of a scattered mind. It was the engine of his genius, constantly churning out fresh perspectives by smashing different worlds together on the page. But the notebooks were only one part of the system. The fuel for this engine was something even simpler, yet profoundly powerful. Questions. Leonardo's notebooks are filled with over 7,000 of them. He wasn't obsessed with finding answers. He was obsessed with asking better questions. Questions like, describe the tongue of a woodpecker. How does a bird maintain its balance in the wind? What is the source of a yawn? Why is the sky blue? What is the root of fear? He was relentless. This wasn't just idle curiosity. Leonardo was manufacturing curiosity. Modern science tells us that the human brain is essentially a puzzle-solving machine. When you pose a specific, intriguing question, your brain can't help but start working on it, often subconsciously. It starts searching for patterns, gathering data, and trying to connect the dots. Leonardo didn't wait for inspiration to strike. He created it day after day by feeding his mind an endless chain of puzzles. He'd start with one big question and then break it down into smaller and smaller ones, creating a branching tree of inquiry that would lead him into completely new territories. He was essentially hacking his own brain, turning it into a creativity factory that ran 24/7. This wasn't a passive act of wondering, it was an aggressive, systematic pursuit of the unknown. This brings us to the most profound revelation about Leonardo's mind. For him, there was no dividing line between art and science. They weren't two separate disciplines, they were two sides of the same coin. Both were just different tools for answering the single, ultimate question that drove him his entire life. How does reality work? Think about it. He studied anatomy not just as a scientist, but so he could paint human figures with unprecedented realism and emotion. He dissected eyeballs and studied optics not just for the sake of knowledge, but to master the play of light and shadow, chiaroscuro, in his paintings. He obsessed over the physics of water and vortices, not just to design canals, but to infuse his artwork with a sense of dynamic, living motion. The Mona Lisa's smile is captivating precisely because Leonardo understood the muscles beneath the skin. The Last Supper feels so alive because he understood the laws of perspective and composition. His contemporaries saw a painter, an engineer, an inventor. Leonardo saw himself as a student of the world. For him, curiosity wasn't a fleeting feeling. It was a discipline. It was a rigorous daily practice of observation, questioning, and experimentation. He applied the scientific method to his art, and an artist's eye to his science. This fusion is the true source of his power. It wasn't just about being good at drawing or being good at math. It was about the fundamental belief that to create something truly beautiful, you must first understand how it truly works. So, what does this all mean for us? We look at the Vitruvian Man or the Mona Lisa, and we see the finished product of genius. But the real masterpiece was his process. The notebooks, the endless questions, the merging of art and science. This was Leonardo's system for thinking. He wasn't born with a different kind of brain. He taught himself a different way to use it. He proved that the most powerful tool for innovation is not a lightning bolt of inspiration, but the habit of relentless inquiry. And that is the ultimate lesson from Leonardo da Vinci. It's a message that demystifies greatness and puts it within our reach. Genius isn't talent. It's the habit of asking better questions. Thanks for watching. If this shifted your perspective, consider subscribing for more deep dives into the minds that shaped our world.